What's up everyone, Bradley Jack Design here with another design breakdown. This time my Obi Toppin career dunk graphic I created. So I wanted to create a graphic of Obi Toppin out of the University of Dayton, the Wooden Award winner. So I actually got this photo from one of the students at Dayton, Griffin Quinn. He takes photos for some of the games, so I wanted to use a photo he took. This photo was amazing of him dunking. This was actually the dunk that broke the Dayton regular season record, or no, career record, beating Chris Wright's record. Anyway, that's Dayton trivia, you guys don't need to know. So I wanted to honor Obi with this graphic about his career dunks, which is a Dayton record now. So let me get rid of all this stuff and I'll break down and show you what it took to create this design. It's a pretty simple design all in all. So let's start with the background. So I've got a black layer here, then I've got a right side and a left side layer. So what these are, here's the right side, here's the left side. So it's sort of like this spooky, eerie texture, right? Well, really all it is a marble. It's just a texture of marble. So I took this texture of marble, I inverted it, and then I threw some levels layers on top of it to brighten it up. So if we look at these, I moved the midpoint over to brighten up the grays. And then I have gradient maps of red on top of both of these, which as it turns out, looks awesome. So that's what this background layer is. These are set to screen. I have two on here because there wasn't much over here. It looked kind of weird, so I duplicated the layer and just moved it around a little bit until it looked how I liked it. So I then took that background, turned it into a smart object, and then threw some smart filters on it to do this. So I used the adaptive wide angle lens and the lens correction to distort this layer. So with the lens correction, I went in here and turned the remove distortion all the way up. So originally it looked like this, but I wanted to really accentuate and mess up the background. And I went ahead and changed the chromatic aberration. I just moved these down to random amounts just to mess it up a bit. And then I used the adaptive wide angle and I tweaked it. So you can play around with these settings. You can see if you set the focal point a little too low, it shows all these jagged edges, but I just changed it so it distorted it so it looked sort of like it was through a fisheye lens. So that's the background. Then I have this photo of Obi, which I apparently have copied 3 times. Why? I have no idea. Well, let's just use, oh, okay. So this is the photo of Obi. This is the photo unedited, just clipped out, except for apparently part of his leg that you can see is clearly broken. And it is in the whole entire design, so that's cool. Missed that, that sucks. All right, so I've got this photo of Obi. This is the edited, no, this is the blurred version, and this is the edited and blurred version. So this is the final version of Obi. So let me open this up. Oh yeah. So when I was making this, I kept wanting to use smart filters on things, so I had to turn it into a smart object. So I wanted to displace it, and that's what that is actually. It's a displacement, so that's not actually an error, so that's good. It's good to know. So I can keep going in here, and I am very deep into figuring out the edited image of this. So here's the original image. Turn that off. Turn this on. That's better. Let me hop in here even one more. Okay, so here's the original. Is this the original image? Here's the original image. So I took that, turned it into a smart object, sharpened it, turned that into a smart object, clipped it out, threw some color correction on here, some general editing I do to my images, camera raw, unsharpened mask, a little bit of a channel mixer, and then some hue and saturation layers to fix the color back. I threw a color lookup on here called Drop Blues to get rid of some of the blue of his jersey. And I have a curves layer where I boosted the whites and a curves layer where I darkened the blacks and I painted back in. Basically, he's being lit from above. So I made anything that would be darker. I made it look darker. So bottom of his legs, bottom of his arms, bottom of the ball. and made it darker. And then the lighter one, anything that would be up on top or lit, I painted back in with a light soft brush to add back in the lighting. So I took that, then turned that into a smart object, which is this here. And then I added some other stuff in here. So I have a gradient map on here with that same red that we have in the background because I wanted to have a true color cast to him. So really, if he was in this random red area with all this stuff in the background, it would be reflecting on himself and he would be red. So that's why I have this gradient map. It's set to soft light. This layer here is a layer fixing the edges. So if I zoom in here, you can see this. Oh, hold on, let me turn this off. So it looks a lot weirder on here, and I don't know why. Let me turn that off. I don't know. So what I did was I took a layer and I took a stamp and I brushed in this area here. Now it should look a lot better than it does, which is a little weird. So let me get out of that. Oops. Let me hop over here. Anyway, I went ahead and was trying to fix this stuff, but as I can see looking back at it, it doesn't look right, which is weird. And I don't know why. Anyway, I made that, did some edits to that, turned it into a smart object so I could displace it and blur it. So I used a path blur in the blur gallery. Oh, I double clicked it instead of going to the blur gallery. So in the blur gallery, I've got this motion of him dunking, his body in general moving this direction, his hand going down, set to 25%. I then masked everything out except for the areas that I want that blur to affect with a soft brush. So his hands, basically his limbs. And then I have another curves layer to lighten up everything around here. Now I probably did all of this in here, so it matched the background, and then turned it into a smart object. The final smart object I did was I displaced it. So if I go back here, I have a displacement on it. And what that's doing is it's displacing it to this overlaid layer I have on top. Is it this one? No, it's not that one. Somewhere in here. There's a layer. This one? Ah, you can barely even see it, that's why. I don't know. So what I did, sorry about that, let me pop back here. So I've got some red glowy stuff on top. And I have this actually masked from the bottom because I wanted it to show like light was coming from the bottom then as well, which is where I lightened up some of the areas on the bottom in one of the previous smart objects. So I basically just duplicated the bottom layer here, threw it up here, set it to screen, and then I just masked out the top part to act like the light source was coming from the bottom. I then found this random image. Here's an image of a building burning, but I basically just used this top layer here. And if I turn that on, so I have that top layer, so it looks like just the very top of the flames with a levels layer on top of that. And I used that levels layer to lighten up the whole image of that. And then on top of that, I have a gradient map set to normal with the same red color to make it look like they're actually red flames. And that's what this gradient map, the distortion is. Let me turn that off. I'm actually confused, but we're gonna keep going. So on top of that, I have this top texture, which is the same, what is it called? Marble. We use the same marble from before, inverted. I think I sharpened it up a little, or I just made some camera raw edits to it. I added grain, didn't I? Nope, I don't know what I did. Maybe I went in here and clicked on it and then clicked off. Anyway, I have a levels layer set to that to brighten it up a little bit. So we've got sort of this eerie, spooky pattern in the front. I have a lens dirt on top of all of this as well. So we've got some dirt up here. So we've got the meat of the graphic, and then I wanted to put some text in here. So I have a layer here. This is just white set to overlay, that then I masked out the top part so it's only showing the bottom portions. And you can see actually down here what the this displacement's doing. It's the fire texture below that's displacing the bottom of his foot. So it looks like you can see it between the flames, sort of like a mirage, or the heat vapors coming off of it. So that's what the displacement was. Then I have just the 191. I have that set to screen, and in order to make it look like it was coming behind the flames, I have a gradient on top of that, which is just a little gradient coming from the bottom to the top. That's black, so you only see the top portion. And then I use that same marble texture set to normal on top of it, set to 40%, which just adds a little bit of texture to the design here. And then I took career dunks, set that to normal, and I just have that in the text. And I have this whole text box, or this whole text folder, set to screen, so you can see behind it. If I have it set to normal, you can see a little bit more of what it looks like below here, where the black actually is. But let me go back and we'll set that to screen, and that's what it looks like. So like I said, all in all, really easy design. I just really wanted to do something with this photo of Obi, play around with textures more. I'm always trying to find something that I haven't seen a lot of other people use, and I think this use of marble inverted is a really cool spooky element that you can use in your designs. So I hope you guys enjoyed this pretty short breakdown, actually. If you guys have any comments or suggestions, let me know below. If anything in this stuck out to you, please let me know as well. Other than that, make sure to like and subscribe. Thanks.